Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Horror Room. So, I just got back from watching The Black Phone 2, and I gotta say, the Rotten Tomatoes score was not lying. This is a really, really good sequel. In fact, I might be so bold as to say this might be the best Blumhouse movie ever put out. And I think that's kind of, it's not a very high bar to jump if you look at the history of the films they've released. But it is admirable that they took something as unique and good as the first film, which was based off of a short story from a book by the same title, The Black Phone. But it's not all about the grabber. And it's by Joe Hill, who is basically Stephen King's son. And it's a nice book, so if you haven't read the book, I would definitely check it out. The one negative I would say about that book is the section about the grabber and the black phone. If you've seen the movie, I don't know, it's complete polar opposite of the movie. And I get why they toned stuff down for the movie, because I think in the book he was like a child molester or something. So in the movie, he's just, he's that kidnap killer guy. Now, when the teaser trailer for part 2 came out, automatically people were calling, "Oh my god, this is a Freddy Krueger." Now I want to make it clear, I'm not going to spoil too much of the movie, but I'm not going to not talk about the movie. So mixed bag. So right off the bat, would I recommend you go see Black Phone 2? Abso-fucking-lutely. If you loved the first movie, this one's gonna blow you away. I think what they did in this story is very cool. Now, let's get into the story. Now, the trailers would make you believe that it's all about Finney and his story. But it's about his younger sister, and she's having dreams, and, there's other kids reaching out, talking to her through her dreams. And the way they do the transition from being awake to dreams, so cool. Basically, it starts to look like you go from the high def, you're watching a movie, to like really grainy, like kind of Super 8 or even VHS style footage, where it's just like, looks dirty and dingy and old. So that's when you know it's a dream. And of course, throughout the movie, you get these glimpses of what happened to these other kids. And Finn's sister, I think it's Glenn? I think it's Gwen. Yeah, she's like experiencing all this, and there's more elements to it which I don't want to spoil. But I will say that this is 100% Blumhouse trying to get away with doing their own Freddy Krueger. Without spoiling too much, I mean, obviously, you got the grabber has been dead. But he has manifested in this, it's like a Christian youth camp. I know that sounds pretty crazy, but it's basically like this like counselor program that they sign up for because she's having these dreams, and she thinks it's linked to their mother. And they go to this camp, and it's during the winter, so they get snowed in, they get stuck there. And at first, the people there think, "Oh, these people are weird," But the head of the camp, I don't think he's a pastor, really. I mean, I don't think so. They don't really explain that. But he's been searching for these missing kids, so they come in and they're like, "Hey, we might know how to help you," and the story moves from there. As far as characters go, outside of Finn and his sister, you get like a few good characters, but they don't really develop. They just kind of, "This is who I am. Here we go." So you don't really need that. The father from the first movie is back. He has a sort of like a little bit to do in this movie. Not till really later on in the movie, but they kind of establish early on that he's, just hanging out. He's just being that cool dad now. Not cool because they're in the snow. But the grabber, is totally, completely a Freddy Krueger ripoff. Down to when she's dreaming, she's physically manifesting, not only marks from him, but marks from these children that are like, the one grabs her arm and she's got like I don't know, like a bruise or something. And then, they got the phone thing. So Finn's getting it too, but he's hearing the grabber talk to him on the phone. So it's this weird mesh where, like, she can't hear the phone, but Finn can, and Finn doesn't know what's happening in the dreams, but they're starting to manifest. Midway through the movie, it was like 100% clear. Oh yeah, they're doing a Freddy thing. I won't say too much, but I will say Tina. So if you get that reference from the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, you can only imagine. But I like what they did, and they kind of incorporate the dreams into, like, informing not only her, Gwen, as a character, but the audience as well. And there's some info that you learn of that kind of helps things play out in this movie. And the way they did the grabber's look in this, in fact, the whole second, not second half of the movie, the most of the movie, because you're in this camp setting, but it's out in the winter. You get these glimpses of, like, the kids running through the trees in the dark, and you could tell, like, it's the grabber following them. He's got his light on them. And it does not shy away from showing these children get violently murdered. Like, not, like, full-on, like, no cutaways, but, through glimpses and the damage that these kids have faced, which you see, you're like, holy shit. The grabber was completely crazy. You get to learn a little bit more about his backstory, but not full. This is not a prequel. It is a full sequel, but you get to learn a little bit more about his past and how it affects Finney and his sister. And I gotta say, I think, because at this point, Ethan Hawke was in the first one, and he was, visible. I don't think they really... Well, they showed his normal look when he had, like, the sunglasses on with the hat and the balloons. But he mostly kept in the grabber mask. Now, he has credit in this movie, but I think it was only a voiceover. And I'm fine with that, because, honestly, I feel like this is a cool idea to have, like, the grabber. Like, you can have someone who looks almost physically identical to Ethan Hawke and just have him do the voiceover, since now he's like a ghost Freddy type. Now, I saw something on Google, I forgot to look it up before I started making this video, that there might have been a post-credits sequence. If anyone's seen it, let me know down below. I'm probably going to look it up after this video. I didn't stick around to see it, whether there was one or not, but if there is one, then that heavily implies that they're going to keep doing Black Phone as a movie series. And Jason Blum in the past has stated that they tackled Michael Myers, he wants to tackle Freddy and Jason. So this could be the legal loophole of him tackling Freddy Krueger without, acquiring the rights, because I'm pretty sure that, the rights are tied up, or somebody has them and is not giving them up. They just want to, use them for merchandise. And without it being Robert Englund, it wouldn't feel right. Like, if they said, Ethan Hawke is the new Freddy Krueger. No one would like that. Not even, like, the people they've suggested. Like, I know Kevin Bacon was one that has been suggested at some point. But if you create this new character that's similar to Freddy Krueger, like, he's killing kids, he's got supernatural powers and can attack you in your dreams. Come on. But at the same time, even though you're spotting all these similarities to Nightmare on Elm Street, not once did I roll my eyes and go, oh my god, this is what they're doing? I'm so mad. I was hooked into the movie. I was, like, just as invested as Finn and his sister were to find out, what's going on. And get those little glimpses of the grabber. And you get to find out that he's an ice skater. That's pretty random, but cool. You see that in the trailer anyways. You see him, like, ice skating towards the camera. But I think it was a lot of fun. I think it was a better sequel than Megan 2.0, which, just, if you haven't heard, it sucks. that's a bad example of a sequel that no one needed, because it didn't take anything about the first movie and elevate it like this did, because this took, this interesting tale, these characters, this killer, and said, hey, he's dead. We could just do a prequel. Let's make a sequel and add some more backstory, but also elevate these characters. And they have a lot of growth by the end of the movie. You want to see them succeed. You want to see them, stop the grabber. Um, but I'm not going to tell you every single plot line. I'm not going to tell you how it ends. I'm not going to tell you, like, what the kids look like. I'm going to let you go see the movie. If you like Black Phone, you will love Black Phone 2. There's probably some people out there that ain't going to like it as much, but I think audiences have become a little jaded when it comes to horror movies in particular. It's hard to, look at a new, fresh, non-recognizable IP as, climbing heights, without, saying too much. But it is a Blumhouse movie. I know how, those get perceived. But, we got the Michael Myers movies by Blumhouse. That's a completely separate thing. The Halloween franchise has certain expectations. I don't think the Black Phone is really on that kind of level where, like, you have giant expectations. It's just a really good first movie that kind of, if you're interested in the character and the story, and you're like, hey, I want to go back to this world a little bit, and I want to see what else is going on. That's what you get. You get more of that. And you don't really need, the flashy, recognizable characters. Outside of the grabber, I guess. And it seems like they are kind of trying to push him into being like one of their mascots, if you will, like Megan and I guess Michael Myers for a little while. They even released grabber-themed Fanta sodas, which my girlfriend made the comment like, "Oh, they should have done grape," and I was thinking, "Oh, he graped? Oh God, no!" But that's not like grape, grab. It's similar enough. But yeah, the Fanta flavors. We're not here to talk about those. Oh, and I did see something else. They have re-released the Black Phone novel with the cover of Black Phone 2. So if you're thinking that this is a sequel book or something different from the original, just take caution. It's literally just a new cover. It's to draw your attention. Like, oh, what's that? That's what they did with the original book. They said, oh, we're going to put the picture of Ethan Hawke as the grabber on the cover. And it worked because I saw it and I was like, oh, that's the movie. But outside of the movie, that's a really good book. It's just a bunch of short stories. I honestly would love to see them adapt more of the stories in that book, even though a lot of them aren't really horror. You could maybe do an anthology of a couple of them and add some horror elements to like make it a little more in that vein. I'd have to reread the book, but honestly, and it's like I said, the Black Phone was probably the one that I was least into in that book, which is weird, but I like the movie. But that's just because, different mediums. But hey, thanks for watching. I hope I've encouraged you to at least give Black Phone 2 a chance. I wouldn't say it's necessary to see it in theaters unless you just, haven't been out to see a good horror movie in a while. I would say it's at least worth that, but you're completely fine waiting for it to go to streaming. But I will say I had a fun time in the theater, and, I like watching a good horror movie in theaters, and this was one that I was pretty sure was going to be good, and I was completely satisfied with seeing. So I will see you in the next video.